How you guys doing? Every time I feed them, I refill the hot water bottle. If they've soiled these, they're starting to sometimes do pooping on their own. Check it with your hand. Keep your hand on it. Don't just do this. Put your hand on it. Leave your hand on it for 30 seconds and make sure it's just feeling nice and warm. Remember, they have more sensitive skin than you, and they can feel burned and hot. So it should feel just nice and warm. And then what I like to do is add another layer on one side here. We'll put another layer in so they can either sit on this warmer area or on this less warm area. They'll decide. And then we're going to put the stuffed animal in here. You have a small box. It can be a cardboard box. You can use a heating pad set on low. Put the heating pad underneath the box. I wouldn't put it in the box, but underneath the box, between the box and the floor. And if you have a heating pad, you have to make sure it's not one that shuts off automatically. Most of them do now. For safety reasons, they'll shut off automatically. So you have to know when it shuts off and come back and put it back on, because these babies cannot tolerate getting chilled. I'm glad there's 2 of them that survived this, because now they're company for each other. start another feeding. You can see how they enjoy just sleeping and gripping on to the stuffed animal in there. You like that? It's just like Mom. They just sleep hanging on to the stuffed animal. You ready to eat? Okay, let's eat. Like in the first video, I can't stress how much you have to give them this formula. Okay, this formula was developed by the National Possum Society, and it's based on the mother's milk of the possum. They're trying to emulate the amount of calcium, the amount of phosphorus, the amount of different vitamins, and the amount of protein and everything that's in mother's possum's milk. So here's the formula. I just have it put up on the cabinet so I can make a batch up whenever I need it. Now this makes a large batch, and once you have this stirred up, and it's not cooked, so it's easy to make it up, this is what you do with it. Okay, this is half used practically already, but you pour it into a clean ice cube tray and have a Ziploc bag. Okay, you don't want to put it in the freezer while it's, you don't want to seal up the Ziploc bag until it's frozen. Then you put it in the Ziploc bag, okay, because you want it to cool off really fast from room temperature. Then you put it in the Ziploc bag. So these things, you'll need a knife, a sharp little knife, to go around each edge, because it doesn't pop out like ice cubes. But you can put the knife down and around each edge and pop each one out. And then a little container. This is not coffee creamer anymore, but this is the block, and I put that in there, and you put it in the refrigerator and let it thaw out. By the next time the next feeding comes, I usually do 2 blocks at a time. By the time the next feeding comes, you will be ready. It'll be melted enough that you can pull off as much as you need with eyedroppers and then heat it up on the stove. And I'll show you a good way of heating it up. If you don't have a brandy shot glass, pick one up at the thrift store. Get one that's got a really heavy bottom so it doesn't tip over. So now you're just going to take the formula and you're going to put it an eyedropper at a time from the frozen container, and just count off how many you need. Now you start maybe with a half an eyedropper for each possum if their eyes are still closed, or if their eyes are just maybe slightly starting to open, you want to go to maybe 1 eyedropper, but build it up slowly. But you don't want to give them much if you first get them. If they're chilled, if they're really tiny and their eyes aren't open, you're going to give them a drop at a time and maybe only half an eyedropper full. So I put this on to heat up the water nice and hot, and it heats this up. Now, before you give it to them, you have to test it on your wrist because they are very, I mean, they have sensitive little skin. And here's another thing about baby possums. They do not have the type of nursing ability where you can use a bottle. It doesn't work. They're not going to suckle like a kitten or a puppy will. When baby possums are born, they're born really quickly after a short gestation period, where a cat, the kitten's going to stay inside the mother and develop for a couple of months. The possum is born after only about 13 days, and it looks like a tiny bee, like a honeybee. It's the size of a honeybee. It has no eyes, it has no ears, it has no back legs even. It just crawls up with its front legs, and it gets in the pouch and attaches to one of the nipples, and the nipple is practically as big as the baby possum, and the milk is pumped into the baby at intervals. The baby doesn't suck the milk, it's just pumped in under pressure, and the baby attaches like a little parasite onto this nipple and never lets go, and the nipple kind of grows to the size to fit the baby's mouth. And there's only about 13, sometimes maybe 14 nipples. The mother possum, she'll give birth to maybe 20 of these tiny little honeybee-sized babies, and the ones that make it to the pouch and attach, they're probably the strongest and fastest moving ones, because she's giving birth one after another. The ones that don't make it, they just perish, because there's no other nipples for them to attach to. Pouch. And because sometimes you could have one that's disoriented or one that's weaker than the others, and that's nature's way of making sure that the maximum amount of babies end up in the pouch. And here they're climbing around on their little stuffed animal. I have a couple stuffed animals, and then if one of them gets soiled, I'll put it in the wash. Wash your stuff separate from your family clothes. And they're on this one right now. The other one I have is a white cat that has a fur that's a little bit less, it's a little more rougher, but soft. I think they like the cat one better than this one. I had these from when I fostered kittens. I would put this in with the kittens, and they like to cuddle up against it. Oh, yawning, see?